I've got the quarter panel pretty much where I want it, and I'm just about ready to tack it in place. I've got the trunk closed. You can see my trunk gap feels pretty good. I've got a jack supporting it in the rear, and I was using self-tappers to kind of hold it in place. But right now I don't have any self-tappers in it. I've got the jack holding it in place. What I want to do is right now the tail light slides in and out perfectly. I didn't have to modify any holes for that, so I want to get the rear section tacked in place so that my tail light goes in and out OEM, no issues. And then from there I want to tack this window support in place, and then I can pull the front in because right now there's a little bit of a gap. So we'll pull that gap down, and I'll get these spot welds that I made, and I'll get all that sucked in, tack welded in place, and then I have my door as well to also kind of gauge the body line of the car. So everything's lining up looking really good. I'm gonna go ahead and start tacking it, and I'll let you guys know from there. Okay, so I am very happy with where the quarter panel is right now. I have it multiple tack welded in the back. I have it multiple tack welded up here. Got this B pillar tacked and the C pillar tacked in place. Show you how the door goes. Actually, the gap, the body line, the gap, everything looks pretty nice on the door. Let's look at how the rocker panel looks. Everything's looking good, lining up good. The trunk, got the trunk lined up really nice. I got these boards in here to simulate the gasket holding the trunk up. Got the tail lights in. Tail lights can come out nice and easy. Not easy to do one-handed. But once the tail light is out, we can see where I've started to stitch it together. I've got a couple tacks up in here. I've got some under the hatch as well. I've got some going on right here under the tail light housing. Now these studs here, I'm gonna cut these off. I welded these on and used a zip tie to kind of hold this panel together for fitment. That's all that is. That has nothing to do OEM. So that all needs to get stitched together, which, it's already stitched together. That all needs to be finished welded. I'll show you inside. Inside, the door feels really nice. I actually went ahead and already readjusted the door because after the car had got hit right here, this jamb was crumpled. Someone put a different door on and they adjusted the door to fit the crumpled jamb. So I needed to readjust the door anyway. Here is where the jamb meets. This piece right here was really crumpled in. I had to use like a slide hammer to pull all this even, but for the most part it is good. I'm gonna finish welding all this, sand it, and a little bit of body work, and you won't even notice that it happened. Haven't really done any welding underneath, but for the most part that is it. Just gotta finish welding it in. All right, I am finished welding. The panel has turned out amazing. I'm really, really excited with how this has all turned out. Here's my door jamb. Here's the inside line. I'll flip it around. So here's the rear wheel well spot welded in to the panel OEM. I need to take some of these self-tapper screws out that I was using to hold it and then spot weld those holes in. But here's this piece here, all welded up. Some trash in there. There's the tail light panel. I still need to cut those studs off. I haven't gotten around to it just yet. And then I also got in here. Inner to outer is all welded up. The panel is fitting perfect. I have no fitment issues whatsoever. The door closes good. Stepping on my tools. Body lines are looking real crisp. I can close here. Where's my tail light at? Here's my tail light. Shove my... I'm trying to do all this one-handed, sorry. There's the tail light, one-handed. Pop right in. Pull it out. So the tail light goes in pretty easy, no issues there. What I was mainly worried about was getting this panel too far or too close and having to re-drill out the taillight holes. So I really wanted to make sure that this panel was exactly where it needed to be. So the taillight lines up good. Oh, screwdriver. Here's the trunk closed. Got a nice gap body line on our trunk. Same as on this side. Trying to make sure everything looks even, and then when you pull the trunk up, it sits flush with this right here. And so pulling the trunk up just simulates that the rubber gasket is under the trunk. Right now it's all pulled out right now. So now I am ready to pretty much sand all my weld nice and smooth. We got to be careful when we do this because this metal is so thin that when we're grinding on the weld, it's easy for our grinder to slip off and start grinding through our thin metal. So we want to make sure to focus the grind on only the weld and get the weld nice and flat, and we don't dig into our body at all. So I actually just went and bought this tool right here. This is really nice to have one of these. It's a belt sander. It's pretty much just a 4.5-inch grinder with a belt sander attachment. And so he works really good for getting into these corners. I was already using it. Getting into this corner right here, and you can really get those nice 90-degree edges with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish sanding anywhere that the weld is gonna be visible. So I'll sand, it's not gonna be visible there, but I'm gonna sand it there anyway. I'm gonna sand it in here, sand any jams, and then seam seal anywhere that needs to be seam sealed. And then I can start DAing the body and body work and getting ready for paint on this thing. Can't believe this thing's almost ready for paint. Jeez. It's been so many different colors for so long. But yeah, wow, this thing's looking good. So I'm really excited. I think for paint, I found a nice single stage metallic blue. And then I think I'm gonna do the cage white. So I'm actually gonna strip all the interior out, paint the interior as well. So like all the trunk flooring and stuff will be white. Everything will get painted. I'm probably gonna pull the engine back out. But right now I'm thinking I'm gonna pull the exhaust and intake manifolds off the engine and then wrap the engine up in plastic, bodywork and paint the engine bay, shave it, smooth it all out. So the car, the door jambs, this under fender lining, the engine bay, everything will be painted. There will be no remnant of mix match paint on this car. It's gonna look super clean. Really excited. Bringing the restoration world to the 240s. One 240 at a time.